Hello, hello, hello. I am here with a flip through of a vintage journal that I did in my group Junkers Craft Co-op. This is actually going to be mailed out hopefully tomorrow, if not the next day. I had steroid shots in my feet for plantar fasciitis, and it's really hard to walk right now. So, and they said tomorrow's going to be worse. So it might be Wednesday before I get this in the mail. But I wanted to do a flip through of it. One, it helps me see if there's anything that I've missed. I need to go back and maybe make a change to or an addition to it. Also, it just helps me get something on my YouTube channel because I haven't posted anything on there in a while. So June and the first part of July was such a busy month. Granddaughter turned 7, our anniversary, our business was busy, so it was kind of crazy. So now I'm back on the grind of junk journaling and trying to get caught up. So I'll jump into it. I am gonna, if I could find where I put it, I have some of that brown packing tape I think I might put over this, and then I have a tie that I'm gonna end up tying on it. But this is just a green, it was just a green, not a file folder, but the ones that you put the file folders in and hang in the file itself. So a hanging file folder, I guess is what you call it. It is an older one, but I tried to grunge it up a little bit more, kind of crinkled it in areas, spritzed it with coffee and some ink, hoping that would give it just a little bit more of an aged look. It does, I mean, if you would have seen it from the beginning to now, it does look more aged. It definitely feels more aged, which is kind of weird, but it does. I keep kind of doing this to get these creases kind of in here, and I bent them all before I used it as a binding. I rounded the edges, and I used some, this is actually some sort of antique, possibly upholstery thread or something that I have a big bolt of. I use it quite often. Actually, I use it like 99.9% of the time. So that's what I have there. Okay, so I'm going to jump in because I hate when people talk 15 minutes about the cover. So obviously it's green. So I'm going to open it up, and inside I actually had a book that I was taking apart. One of the book pages had this due date on it. So I ripped it around, inked it, and put it on here. I thought it was kind of cool. That one of the things about this book is it was supposed to mostly be obviously vintage, but as much real ephemera or copied ephemera could be copied, or vintage inspired. I have a lot of vintage ephemera, so I really tried to use actual vintage where I could. So that, obviously the due date, old book, in fact I have another piece of the book in here too, you'll see, is actually in here. This fabric is actually from an old pillowcase I've been ripping up, and I lightly coffee dyed it just a little. This is a vintage piece of wallpaper. This is actually hinged in. I did it after I sewed the signatures in. There's a couple things I hinged in afterwards. So again, with that pillowcase, this is actually a little piece of washi. I accidentally had gotten some glue on the outer side of the fabric, and I just couldn't get it to stop being kind of sticky. So I just put the washi over it, and it worked out just great. It has a little fold here. If you wanted to, you could tuck something in there. It would hold, or you could do a paper clip. So that's kind of cute, actually. That's actually kind of cute. Maybe I'll actually stick something in there with the paper clip. This is actually a excuse me, digital, but of course it had all that old look kind of to it. It's just a small piece. I wanted to be able to have some places to write, but then I ended up putting a pocket on it. This is actually antique lace from France, and I just made a little pocket with it. And then I stuck an old black and white photo in there and a couple flashcards. I think they're from the 60s. I actually have the box here. There's the box. That's what it looks like. So yeah, probably late 50s, early 60s. I have quite a few to use. So that's that. This is actually a book from, it's actually really old. Trying to remember the date. I think it's even pre-1920s. It was actually falling apart, so I took it and took the cover off and glued it, a piece of it, glued it on here with a piece of the actual book behind it. On top of a seed packet. These came from Target a few years ago, which I hinged in. It was not part of the base of the book. So I hinged that in, coffee dyed it just a little, added this paper ruffle, and inked it all up, and kind of played with it so it was, looked like it had been sitting around for a while, I hope. And that's the back side of it, and I have a flashcard in there that I've aged up with a little piece of Swiss dot fabric there to pull it out. Like I said, that's hinged again with that pillowcase. And then this is from Sunnyside Public Library in Sunnyside, Utah. This is actually was from that book as well. A junk envelope, avocado dyed, and then I just made a little cluster here with again some more of that pillowcase, a little piece of seam binding that was just sitting there, a bow. Whoopsie, maybe I shouldn't play with it, huh? A little bow that I found at the package at Daiso of. This was just sitting in a jar next to me. It's just like a petal. And then an old whipped cream grade A topper, bottle topper. That's actually vintage. And then over here, this is actually vintage wallpaper that I put on the envelope to cover up writing that was there. Made this little tag, of course, with the Tim Holtz, and just a little piece of pink and washi. And this is actually vintage music paper there, and then that's just scrapbook paper, and then of course a vintage Premium King corn stamp, similar to green stamps. So that's that. This is a piece, just a piece of an envelope, like a back that I ripped off the front because it had a envelope and used the front, and this was the back piece I kept. Just made a old looking piece of tape there. You can write or add something there. This is an actual vintage flower seed packet that I made to flip up so you can write on there or something. I thought this was kind of cool because it's got this little, it's actually Mutual of Omaha. And most of us growing up, I'm in my early 50s, most of us remember the Mutual of Omaha commercials if you're my age. Inside here I just stuck another flashcard. This was in the flashcards, kind of like a divider. I just thought it'd be nice to have just something plain in there. And then these are actually cool. I found these on one of my trips, I think to California. and I just had to have it. Actually, I did buy it at California and a Salvation Army, and I paid more for it than I wanted to, but it was just so cool. And there's so many of them. I mean, so many of them. And they're just folder tabs, and they're all the same color in orange, but I just thought it was so cool. I just had to have it. So you'll see a couple of them in here. So I stuck one in here in case they wanted, who the recipient is may want to use one where I didn't. This is actually, I don't know if I have the book. Do I have the book here? This is actually out of a book, and I don't know where the book went. I'd show it to you if I knew where it went. But it's like this. I mean, this is a English one, but it's similar to this, but it was accounting, and like an old accounting course. So it had never been written in, so it's kind of cool. So I've got an old ledger paper here, the folder tab, and then this I actually bought these off of Etsy, off of Manon, who is in Junkers Craft Co-op. She has amazing stamps on, actually, I'm sorry, I did not get that from her. I got this from Fun Life on a Budget. I'm sorry, giving credit to the wrong person. Fun Life on a Budget, which is in our group too. I mean, she does incredible stamps as well. Both of them do. And I just thought it was cool because I had the old treadle machine. And then I just put a piece of vintage pattern paper here on the corner. And I figured you could write on there. This is an order form for S&H green stamps. So I used the back page of the S&H green stamps there. This I got from Fun Life on a Budget too. Some cool coffee dye paper with punches. There's a few pieces in here, so you can have some writing. This is a vintage, I have this book of all these different forms that you can buy at like a travel salesman's size, and that's what that is there. Avocado dyed paper. I just stuck on a safety pin. I believe this one to be an old nickel one, and then an old rusty key and a little pearl bauble, because when you think of vintage, for some reason I always think of pearls. This kind of came out. Tapestry here for a corner tuck. The old math flashcard. And then this came out of like a little 1970s traveling map book, and this is going to South Carolina, so I made sure I got the South Carolina map in there. The colors go well with the pink. And then this is a little cluster I did, but it's also a flip, so a flip up, or you can just tuck something in there, either one. And this is out of an old train book, and it's the stations, the timetables from a train book from here in Salt Lake, actually. So, and that's the center as well as on my first signature. Then we turn it over. I did more of this little Swiss dot material back here because I don't know if I showed you, I just love how things stick out. So you can kind of see it sticking out at the top there. I went ahead and did the end of one of these little forms. I had a little extra end, so I stuck it there, and then that, of course, that file folder tab again. Put an old library pocket with an older library card in it. More of the forms, more of that paper, and the other side of the S&H. Winn-Dixie. It's kind of funny. S&H stamps there. More of the vintage wallpaper to make a pocket. This is some of the pages out of that book. In fact, oh, I thought it might say the date, but it doesn't. I know they're really old. So, and then more of course, it's on that ledger paper. More of that ledger paper. And this I think turned out really cool. It is actually a vintage silk pouch. I don't know where I got these, but I thought they were so cool. So I also went to this rock store yesterday. I don't know if anybody's into rocks or healing rocks or anything. But these is actually petrified wood that have been tumbled and made smooth. So I put those in there. And then this is actually from the front of that same book, this book here, the front of the book, it just didn't have anything on it, so I used it to write on about what petrified wood is for. It's for to be safe, secure, heritage, calms fair, and self-will. And I thought that was kind of cool, so I just kind of folded that up. It's kind of brittle because the paper is really old, and stuck that in there, kind of sticking out a little bit with the petrified wood. It is only tucked here, so you can actually write underneath or something, or stick a picture of somebody. I have these, so they're kind of sticking out on the top and the sides, which I thought were kind of cool. This is the back side of that envelope. I don't know if you can see, there's even that little tab of the envelope there. More of the pink avocado dyed envelope, more vintage wallpaper to cover up writing, an old button card, and these are actually old, and then I went ahead and coffee dyed a little bit on top of them. The index card for writing. There. And then we have this page here. This, I just folded up some vintage music paper to make a pocket here, and a kind of a little flip so you can add more. And then there's also another pocket in back if you wanted to add more. Oh, and then of course a little black and white photo. It's like of a family eating at a dinner table in there. This page, I want to do something, but I haven't yet. I just can't think of what to do. Maybe after this video I might think, oh, I don't need anything, or I do need anything. But again, it could just be a place to write. Obviously you need places to write. It can't be filled every page, right? So that's the first signature. And then I have the space in here between the two signatures. No matter how close I tried to get those signatures, there's a space. So I went ahead and glued, since it had an edge, that edge down in there to hide that, as well as to kind of just be another little flip. I don't know if most of you know me. I do a lot of laces and stuff, and I don't feel that I've gone overboard at all with lace or fabric or anything in this one. Just a few touches here and there. More paper by oh my gosh, don't get old. Fun Life on a Budget. That's another piece of her paper. And then I have the base paper underneath, which is part of the book, and it's a part of that old book that we used up here with the due date in it, and folded in half. And then I've taken some papers, some coffee dyed papers and such. This is actually out of that one book I just showed you, the English Fundamentals. That is a page out of there. Coffee dyed index card and a guest check that I coffee dyed, and I just stapled it on and did the same thing on the other side with some same type of thing. So a little scrappy pad in there. Old typewriter paper. It says copy on it. Again, use the tabs. Oopsie, I glued something right beforehand and it was stuck. Okay. And then it folded over, so I made, by putting the tab on, I made a little tuck, and I stuck an old letter in here with envelope with its letter in there from 1946. If any of you remember having cassette players in your car, this is from an old cassette player. It's just the where you write the songs down and stuff on. Made that's a pocket. You put something in there. This is an envelope. All I did was stick a postcard. It has an actual letter written on it. 1946. More of that forms, salesman book, piece of Tim Holtz wallpaper, coffee dyed, more of that ledger paper, more Fun Life on a Budget paper, more S&H green stamps. This is some stuff I have. I don't know what it is. It comes on a big roll, but it just feels so cool. It tears really cool. I don't even know what it is, but it's just this cool stuff. So I stuck it in there. More Swiss dot, made a flip with some lace on top. This will get, this is actually probably early 1900s postcard. That will actually get a paper clip there. Other side of that fabric-y stuff, I'm not sure what it is. S&H, more Fun Life on a Budget paper, ledger paper, wallpaper, forms, another, of course, pocket with another vintage postcard, part of the S&H to cover up the writing, other side of the copy, and then I did another one of these little scrappy things here. Her name starts with a K, so I put a K in there. The recipient of this starts with a K, so I thought that would be cool to have that K there. More Fun Life on a Budget paper. That's an old coffee dyed half of an envelope. I ripped in half and glued down, made a pocket. These were actually from my childhood. They were in my books when I was little. My mom gave me the box of them. And a little more piece of wallpaper. Stuck that in there. Okay, so now I want to show you kind of how cool it all looks. Sticking all out everywhere. So there's its alligator mouth with everything kind of sticking out. I just think it's kind of cool. Just kind of cool, all sticking out and sticking out on top. And of course, the bottom. A lot of people would call this billowing. I wouldn't call this actually billowing yet. Billowing is like way out. But it could be considered that. I just consider it sticking out. And I just think it's really cool that way. I hope the person that gets it likes it. Like I said, I have to just do the tape on here and the tie, and it's ready to go. And my stamp that says made by me. So yeah, that's it. I'm having a hard time even giving it up. I love it. I got some of the ideas for this book from Scribbles in Time. If you have not checked out her YouTube channel, she is amazing. Artistry journals. That's what I call them. They're pure art. I did get this idea from her. She did a passport. She called this a passport journal. And I just thought it was amazing. So I did do some of this. I didn't do everything. Hers just like are so big and just massive and crazy and just amazing. But the hinging in after you put the basic papers in, which is something that she does, as well as these scrappy pads, and even putting in probably things you wouldn't think of putting in a junk journal. So if you can, check her out on YouTube. I hope, Catherine, that you really appreciate this and love it like I do. If not, you can send it back to me and I'll love it for you. But yeah, so I think I met the requirements. Like I said, just about 95% of everything in here is vintage. There's a few things that are not obviously can't all be vintage. We need to use paper, some sort of paper to put the books together. But I've done my best to make the ones that are newer look vintage. So yeah, thank you for watching my YouTube channel, and I'll see you the next time around.